Zippity-doo-dah. Zippity day. My oh my, it's a wonderful day. Happy Friday. Yeah, Friday. One of the top 7 days of the week. You got to admit that. It's the 6th day of September 2019. I'm Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Got a good weekend coming your way. Everything's going my way. Why am I singing these songs all of a sudden? I don't know what's going on. Probably because it's Friday. And we're in a good mood. I hope everybody's ready for another exciting weekend. Of course, it was a short week for everybody, for the most part, with Labor Day being on Monday. But the back half of that story, the other side of the coin, if you will, is that, well, you have to cram 5 days worth of work into a 4-day work week. I think we'll be able to pull that off. Friendly reminder, our very first fall sports event of the year comes up tonight. The Wenatchee Panthers will host the Mount Si Wildcats. Leave off the field of the Apple Bowl. Eric Grandstrom and tall guy does the Grant Olson will do the play-by-play, and the color commentary will take to the air at 6:45. Kickoff at 7. If you can't make it, leave off the field of the Apple Bowl. You can watch it right here on the NCW Live channel. Lots of things going on this weekend. We'll run you through your weekend events. When we get to that, busy news day yesterday. Our top story is they arrested a suspect in the armed robbery of Ernie's grocery store from a couple of weeks back. We'll get to that when we get to the news. More sports than we can shake a stick at. In fact, I would shake a stick, but I don't have one. I'll shake my pen. There. That's how much sports we have. Plus the obscure holiday, today in history, birthdays. Everybody is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. And Maren May is my guest. Turn this thing off. I knew this was a bad idea. Maren May is my guest. She's part of the organization that's putting together the Walk to End Alzheimer's, which is coming up on September 21st. It's a good cause. Maren will be my guest in the second half of the program. And of course, it's Friday, and you know what that means. We give you a 5-star show. Well, we did until I just did that. Now we're down to a 4-star show. We'll be a 1-star show by the time we get to the end of the program. Yeah. Let's take you around the valley. With our Valley View cameras, you'll notice the clouds are here. Now, it gave us a spectacular sunset last night. Man, I got up this morning and on all my social media accounts had all kinds of photos of last night's sunset. We usually don't get spectacular sunsets here. That's just the nature of the geographic location of north central Washington and the Wenatchee Valley. Our sunrises are always pretty. Sunsets, not so much, but that was an exception yesterday. We had a gorgeous sunset and not a bad sunrise. Now, we're dealing with a lot of clouds, and it's 66 degrees. It's very mild because the clouds act like a lid. They hold the afternoon heat in. But the clouds will be leaving today. The system is going to be exiting the area. We'll have some warm and dry and sunny weather by the time we get later on this afternoon. And then a little bit of everything coming our way for the weekend. That all-important weekend weather forecast is coming your way. But if you have outdoor activities, it looks fine to me. No problems at all. By the way, sunrise this morning happened at 6:26. Sunset tonight at 7:31. That gives us 13 hours and 5 minutes of daylight, by the way, just in case you're curious. In the last 7 days, from Friday of last week to today, we would have lost 23 minutes of daylight in the past week, as we just got a couple weeks of summer left in 2019. Camera 2, where are we off to? Megan, we're going to go see the Appalachians camera. Good morning, Cashmere. Of course, the Chelan County Fair has day 2 going on today in Cashmere. They got the Davis Show carnivals. They got tons of good food, rodeo, livestock. Country superstar Joe Diffie will be performing as part of your fair admission, by the way. So head on up to Cashmere to the fairgrounds and check out the Chelan County Fair. One of my favorite events of the year going on in Cashmere, which is the town that you see right there, because I'm that good. Camera number 3. I'm going to take a look-see. That's obviously Jump Off Ridge, Wenatchee Valley way off in the sunlight. You can see the clouds. They're not really low-hanging clouds. They're up there quite a bit. And as I mentioned before, they're going to be leaving the area as we get deeper and deeper into this Friday. We will have some sunshine. It'll be mostly sunny by the time we get to the afternoon. Stemmill Basin looking good. All of East Wenatchee in view there for the most part. Wenatchee kind of tucked away behind the Wenatchee Heights area. And camera number 4, where are we off to, Megan? Billy Goat. There you go. And there's the Alta Lake Golf Course, and my good friend Ace Skylman hit a hole-in-one on number 12 at Alta Lake over the weekend. That's his 3rd career hole-in-one. I'm trying to give Ryan the nickname Ace. It's not catching on. I don't know why. I know it's his 2nd hole-in-one of the year so far this year. He's a good stick. So good morning to our friends in Alta Lake. Pateras, Brewster in view. Can't see Bridgeport. It's tucked behind the area there. Gorgeous view there from the Billy Goat camera. And I wish we could point it up the Met Howe Valley, but we can't because that's where the support tower is. And if we panned our camera to the left to point up the Methow Valley, you wouldn't be able to see anything except a big aluminum pole. And that doesn't do anybody any good. So that's our views from around north central Washington on this Friday morning. 6 minutes after the hour from the National Weather Service. Excuse me. Here we go. Clouds this morning, sunshine this afternoon. We'll top off at about 86. We hit 87 yesterday. Our normal high is about 80. Things are looking not bad at all today. So gradually, we'll have some clearing skies. Tonight, mostly clear, 63 for the overnight low. Saturday, the opposite. We'll have clear skies in the morning and then cloudy skies in the afternoon. And on Saturday, we'll hit about 84. No rain in the forecast on Saturday proper, but Saturday night, we got about a 50% chance of showers under lots of clouds on Saturday night. No big drenching, just a little bit of light rain here and there is a possibility on Saturday night. That spills into Sunday. Sunday, going to big cool down. Cold front's coming our way on Sunday. So from 87 yesterday and 86 today and 84 on Saturday, we'll be lucky to get to 75 on Sunday. Also a little breezy at times on Sunday. Sunday night, we cloud up, 58 for the overnight low. Back to work on Monday. Lots of sunshine, about 77 degrees. And as you can see, kind of a mixed bag, a little bit of everything. It's going to be fairly cool, fairly unsettled all the way through the rest of the work week. All of the computer models that they use, by the way, are not really in agreement. We know through Monday that's pretty accurate. Once they get to Monday night and Tuesday, it's kind of a guessing game from the National Weather Service. This is the time of the year where that can happen, where there's a lot of things going on as summer begins to depart. But there you go. There's your forecast. Again, about a 50-50 chance of rain overnight Saturday night into Sunday. For today, clouds in the morning, sun in the afternoon, and then tomorrow it's the opposite. We'll have sun in the morning and clouds in the afternoon, and then mostly sunny but considerably cooler on Sunday. I think Sunday is going to be the first day in quite some time it's going to sort of feel like autumn. It's 7 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we have your Friday morning news. It's just 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 1 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Live channel.
Hi, I'm Jim Heinlein, agent here at Senior Insurance Services of North Central Washington, where we like to teach our customers how to shop and compare from all the Medicare options. Now, a lot of folks will come in and tell me, Jim, I'm so confused about all these choices. In fact, there's 21 reasons you can join a Medicare plan. But we want to focus on the specific plan that's right for you. So if that's what you need, give us a call at Senior Insurance, 888-2600, or visit one of our 5 locations.
My first experience with CVCH, I had to come in with my daughter by myself with a cut in my hand that required stitches. And the care and compassion at CVCH was really significant, that they took the care and compassion and made me feel more as a human instead of just a patient there. The care they have for their community all around, inside and outside the clinic, is what I feel like is different. And that's what makes me want to come back to CVCH and recommend them to my friends and family.
9 minutes after the hour, we have high clouds and 67 degrees. Clouds this morning, sun this afternoon. We'll top off in the mid-80s. We do the opposite on Saturday with morning sun and afternoon clouds, and then mostly sunny and cool on Sunday. Here's your Friday morning headlines. One of 2 people suspected of robbing Ernie's grocery store in Wenatchee is now in custody. Wenatchee police arrested a 16-year-old male at his home late Tuesday night, booked him on charges including first-degree robbery, second-degree theft, and use of a firearm. He allegedly also kept what police called a significant quantity of LSD wrapped up in over $300 in cash. He also faces additional charges of drug possession with intent to deliver. The robbery at the store in the 500 block of South Miller Street took place just before closing time, 10 o'clock, on August 30th. That's when 2 masked suspects held the loan clerk at gunpoint. The thieves took money from the cash register, fled on foot. Police say a witness saw the juvenile suspect near the store in the company of a masked person. Now, the other suspect does remain at large, and as you saw there on the screen, anybody with information should contact Rivercom. Well, 2 people arrested in Wednesday's search of an East Wenatchee home now face drug charges. Investigators say they had to flush one suspect out of the attic using pepper spray and a police dog. That man, 27-year-old Jesus Morales Lozano, he was sought in a warrant charging him with possession of meth and cocaine. Another resident at that Eastmont Avenue home. 21-year-old Noemi Lara was held on suspicion of drug possession and maintaining a drug property. The Columbia River Drug Task Force says they recovered 53 grams of methamphetamine and about 20 grams of heroin from the house. East Wenatchee police say it's been the site of multiple citizen complaints and police calls in recent months. Well, Saddle Rock from the trailhead to the top of Saddle Rock is going to be closed beginning September 16th, while mining waste rocks are going to be removed. The closure of the popular Wenatchee hiking spot is expected to continue through the end of November. Now, Dry Gulch, that'll remain open, as will the trail near the Wenatchee Racquet and Athletic Club. Now, the area is a former mining site. It's now owned by the city of Wenatchee. There are piles of waste rocks that have shown elevated levels of arsenic. It's the first phase of the cleanup. The next phase is expected to begin next summer. Well, compared to the last several summers, it's been a pretty quiet wildfire season here in north central Washington, but obviously we are not out of the woods quite yet.
It is still fire season, and to attest to that, yesterday afternoon there was a small fire that was discovered near Red Top Lookout, near the top of Blewett Pass. So we just want to remind folks, fire season is still here, even though it's a little cooler at night and your guard may be down. Please don't let it be so, because conditions are still dry out in the National Forest and fires are continuing to occur.
Yeah, this summer's been a welcome change for Robin DeMario with the Okanagan and Wenatchee National Forest. Her job as Public Information Officer for the U.S. Forest Service has certainly been quieter, but she says crews from this area have been actively involved in fighting fires in other parts of the country.
Our crews are trained so that they are available to be able to support fire suppression efforts nationwide. So many of our crews went to Alaska early in the season when they were having such a problem with so many wildfires burning there. We have crews now in Oregon helping out down there. Our interagency hotshot crew is down in Oregon. And then we also have a crew that's gone to Nevada to help with fire suppression efforts there.
In addition, DeMario says crews have been sent to Florida, North Carolina, and Georgia to assist in hurricane recovery efforts here locally. DeMario says the calmer weather conditions have enabled more work to be done to prevent wildland fires.
But there are other jobs that they do. They remove hazardous trees from campgrounds. They're out doing fuels mitigation work. That means thinning out trees in overgrown areas or in the wildland urban interface. For example, there's a Brevicoma subdivision up in the Chewok on the Methow Valley Ranger District that they've been doing a lot of work in their fuels reduction work to help with that wildland urban interface area between where the houses meet the national forest to reduce the probability of the likelihood that a severe wildfire would be able to go through there. This reduces the fuel loading in that area and then reduces the potential for a catastrophic fire.
DeMario adds that crews are also preparing for the fall prescribed burning season, with several areas targeted for treatment from Okanagan County all the way down to Yakima County.
Crews this summer have also been able to help us prepare for that prescribed burning. We'll lay out areas, and we have to put fire lines around those areas that we're planning to do the prescribed burning in. So they'll construct those fire lines and do what other mitigation things they need to do prior to the fires. So they've been working there, and in fact, we are burning today on our Natchez Ranger District about 225 acres down on what we call the Canteen Unit. It's about 26 miles northwest of Yakima. So we'll continue to burn where we can with the weather conditions appropriate, and they're within that prescription that we have to be able to burn.
Well, over 11,000 acres are planned for prescribed burning this fall. Fewer acres may be completed if conditions are not favorable. And finally, what's going on this weekend? I don't know, but we have an in-house expert. Her name is Megan McPherson, and here's your weekend events.
Here's a look at what's on tap this weekend around the Wenatchee Valley. Holiday Spice 2019 open auditions are this Saturday at 10 a.m. on the Numerica Performing Arts Center stage. Holiday Spice is a Wenatchee Festival of Trees community-based holiday variety show benefiting the Numerica PAC. The 2019 performances are Friday, December 6th at 7 p.m. and Saturday, December 7th at 1 p.m. Prepare about 2 minutes worth of material for your audition. This is a variety show, so any performance artists are welcome to audition. If you have an idea for a holiday number, you can present your idea to the directors immediately following your performance. Kebab Fest 2019 is this Saturday from 11 to 2 at 3 Hierarchs Orthodox Christian Church. This fundraising festival will feature delicious shish kebabs and pita bread, baklava ice cream sundaes, coffee, and baklava to go. Come enjoy food and music in a safe, family-friendly environment. Sport Classic Golf Tournament is this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Highlander Golf Course. This is a charity golf tournament that helps support young gymnasts and their training in the Wenatchee Valley. To register to golf or attend the dinner and raffle, go to sportclassicgolf.com. And finally, Blind Date with Lilac annual dinner and auction is this Saturday at 5 p.m. at Pybus Public Market. This is the 4th annual dinner auction fundraiser put on by Lilac Services for the Blind. Dinner is once again being catered by Country Boys Barbecue. Come experience a sight impairment activity during the event and a surefire inspirational speaker who will speak about how Lilac Services has helped them. For more information on this weekend's events and others, visit the community calendar at ncwlife.com.
Yeah, it's September. There is a lot going on all over the Wenatchee Valley in north central Washington. A reminder, wherever you go this weekend, take us along. We're portable. We stream 24/7, 365. Go to ncwlife.com, click on the Watch Now icon, and whatever we're broadcasting right now over the airwaves or on your local cable television provider is available for you to watch whenever you want to, either live or on demand by going to ncwlife.com. And you can use our website as a tool to get a hold of us. There's a Contact Us icon as well. There, fill out the form and push send and we'll get it. Or you can send us an email if you want, news at ncwlife.com, news at ncwlife.com. A friendly reminder, the news with Grant Olson and Eric Granstrom will come your way at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, 5, 6, and 10. And don't forget, we got high school football tonight as well. In fact, sports is right around the corner. The Wenatchee Apple Sox are looking for a new head coach. We'll preview the first Friday night football games of the year. Also, we'll talk Mariners, Wenatchee Wild, and a whole bunch more. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 2 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
When you call Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, you get 35 years of experience and customer service in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's friendly staff strongly believe in repairing before replacing and service all major brands of HVAC units. Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning is your local, independent, trained comfort specialists, proudly serving all of North Central Washington. Call 884-6444 today.
We're back at 19 minutes after the hour. The ever-widening world of sports. The Wenatchee Apple Sox have announced that Kyle Crustangel has resigned after 3 seasons as the head coach. He led the Apple Sox to their first postseason berth since 2013 this summer. Wenatchee finished second in the North Division at 29-25. They took Victoria to 3 games in the divisional playoffs. In 3 seasons, he amassed a record of 84-78. Crustangel cited the grueling calendar year between both coaching the Yakima Valley Yaks of the NWAC Conference and then, of course, in the summertime, the Apple Sox. That's the primary reason behind his decision. Apple Sox management has begun the search for their 5th coach in team history. Joel Norman of the Wenatchee Apple Sox will be my guest on this show on Monday to talk about that. The Mariners squandered a 7-run lead. They fell at Houston 13 innings. It was a marathon. Final was 11-9. Michael Brantley Jr.'s walk-off 2-run home run was the difference. Austin Nola and Kyle Seager each hit 2 home runs for Seattle. Mariners grabbed a 7-0 lead in the first 2 innings, but former Apple Sox Marco Gonzalez had a rough outing. He lasted 5 1/3. He allowed 5 runs, 7 hits, and 5 walks. The 2 teams play again tonight, 2nd of 4 games at Minute Maid Park at 5:10. From the Les Schwab American League West scoreboard from last night, Thursdays are pretty quiet, and it was. Oakland scored 7 runs in the 7th inning to come from behind to beat the Angels. And Nick Solak's 2-run home run led Texas past Baltimore 3-1. All right, we're ready. Another prep football season gets underway tonight. right here on the NCW Live channel. The Wenatchee Panthers will host the Mount Si Wildcats. Under the lights, leave off the field of the Apple Bowl. The Panthers began last season on the road at Mount Si, and they were blown out 52-0. Coach Scott Devereaux says he expects the Wildcats to present another tough challenge tonight.
Outside, they're loaded. You know, they're one of the better programs in the state right now. And it all revolves around their quarterback. You know, last year they had a senior who accepted a scholarship to Oregon. Now it's his younger brother who already has an offer to Oregon as a junior. He's only 6'6" and can make all the throws. So we definitely have to control the clock and run the football and keep them off the field and play really good defense.
Eric Granstrom and Grant Olson with the call. 6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff right here on the NCW Life channel in living color. The Eastmont Wildcats start their season on the road. They'll be in Tacoma tonight at historic Stadium High School, but they're taking on Woodrow Wilson High School. Woodrow Wilson won't be there, by the way. Coach Michael Don says he looks forward to the challenge. Both Wilson and Pasco will provide Eastmont right out of the gate, just like last year when the Wildcats started the season 2-0.
Yeah, it was good. I think we set up our schedule pretty well. We had some good, some quality programs. Both Ellensburg and West Valley Spokane were state playoff teams at the 2A level. And then we were able to get going and learn a little bit earlier on with Wilson and Pasco, not knowing a lot about them. But it was good because both Wilson and Pasco did things that we didn't expect, and it kind of let our kids learn, okay, whatever we see on film may not be what we see in a game. So it was good to get that going early so that when we got into the league schedule and teams did the same thing to us, we were able to adapt, because with us running the wing T offense, we get all kinds of crazy things on D. So sometimes we just have to wing it and let kids figure it out on the fly.
So those are two games, but there's a lot more. Here's the full lineup, of course, as we talked about before, Mount Si Wenatchee right here on the NCW Life channel. Let's see, Ferris will be at Moses Lake. Quincy hosts Zilla. Chelan's on the road at Brewster. Cashmere will host Ephrata. That'll be a good one. Natchez Valley visits Peshastin and the Cascade Kodiaks. Manson will host Kettle Falls, and Antioch is at Selkirk. All those games kick off at 7 o'clock tonight. Then there's a matinee tomorrow with Waterville-Mansfield traveling north of the border to take on Northport. The Huskies getting ready to take on Cal. That is tomorrow night. You can watch it on FSM. For Chris Peterson, it is the Cal Bears defense that has him on edge.
Yeah, this is going to be a whole interesting new dynamic going on this weekend. I mean, we'll really be tested, and it's, you know, things are going to be much tougher on offense. I mean, that we know for sure. You just, not just against us, you know, last year and even the year before when we played them. You know, the score, you know, we made some plays, but I think that we played well and we made a few things happen. But if you watch the game, I mean, that's really a good defensive team. I mean, Justin does a great job, and, you know, coaching those guys. And you know, Peter Sermon and DeRuiter and all those guys, I mean, they're all defensive, really good minds. And so they play at a high level of football, there's no question.
Again, that's an evening game, 7:30 at Husky Stadium, televised on FS1. For the Cougars, they host Northern Colorado. It's an afternoon game. At Martin Stadium, Coach Mike Leach says he doesn't know much about Northern Colorado other than their size.
They're big. They're kind of a big, aggressive team, and they look like I think they're getting better too. And but they, like I say, pretty good size. I don't know a ton about them. I've watched a little film, and I'm going to watch more today. But you know, I think they're a good, solid Big Sky team that's on the rise.
So here's the rundown of the local colleges. As you see, Eastern Washington will host Lindenwood. That's a 1 o'clock kickoff in Cheney, Washington State, Northern Colorado, at Martin Stadium at 2. Central Washington is at Idaho at 6, and of course the Huskies and the Bears tomorrow night. Also on the prep schedule this weekend, the Wenatchee and Eastmont girls kick off their soccer seasons tomorrow. The Panthers entertain Central Valley at Lee Bofta Field of the Apple Bowl. Eastmont will take on Southridge at Wildcat Stadium. Both games start at 1 o'clock. The girls' volleyball season gets underway tomorrow. Cashmere, Manson, and Waterville-Mansfield will be at the Ephrata Invite. That begins at 8 a.m. Wenatchee will host Chelan, Eastmont, and Moses Lake in their jamboree. That begins at 9 o'clock tomorrow. And runners from the region will get their first cross-country meet experience of the year. Cascade, East Valley, and Ephrata will be in Ellensburg at 11 a.m. Quincy is in Tillamook, Oregon for the Ultimuk Race Nike Invitational. That starts at 10 a.m. Wenatchee Wild Hockey, believe it or not, they begin tonight. The puck drops at 7 o'clock. They're in Merritt to take on the Centennials, and they travel to West Kelowna to take on the Warriors tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. We'll have highlights Monday right here on this very television program. Season's winding down for the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. Head on up to Fancher Heights on Saturday night. The Jerry's Auto Supply presents the Jerry Burschauer Memorial 100 Championship Race. This is for the pro late models. Also tomorrow night, you got the Legends, the Northwest Vintage Modifieds, the Northwest Pro 4 trucks, and the Street Stocks. Gates open to 4. Racing starts at 5:30. There's also a fundraising golf tournament tomorrow at the Highlander for sport gymnastics tee times at 11 o'clock. And finally, can't forget about the Seahawks. They take on the Cincinnati Bengals at CenturyLink Field in the NFL season opener. While there's been quite a bit of buzz about the addition of Jadeveon Clowney and Ezekiel Ansah to Seattle's pass rush attack, Coach Pete Carroll says it's going to take some time for everybody to gel.
The guys are still really new at it in playing together. KJ and Bobby just got back together, and of course Mike's new for them. But to put those guys out there first, that's something that was really exciting looking towards the season. I'm cranked about that, but then we go ahead and mix up what we got up front. Hopefully we can play some really good football. It's going to take us a while to get to our best. We're so new. It's just brand new guys, so we'll see how it goes, but our expectations will be really high as we move forward. And like right now, we just got to get to playing football and see where we are and make some assessments as we go. There'll be not just their assessments of what they're doing, we got to figure out what we're doing some too. So it'll be an exciting opener.
Seahawks and Bengals on CBS. They'll kick off at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Friday. At 27 minutes after the hour, the obscure holiday. Hey, pour yourself a cup of tea, curl up on the couch, and read a book. It's Read a Book Day today. I'm assuming a bibliophile made up this holiday. Research has shown that reading is good for you. Reading has any number of health benefits for actually the body. If you read a lot, you normally have a lower stress level. The non-readers, of course, reading stimulates brain activity. That's well known. Also improves memory. Socially, reading helps you a lot. People who read a lot have a tendency to be more empathetic to their fellow mankind. So how do you celebrate? First of all, the first thing I would do is I'd recommend that you read a book that you've always been meaning to read, but you haven't. This is a good day to pick it up and read it. If there's a book that you just love, but you haven't read it in a long time, pick it up and reread that. Or join the library. Get a library card. How about that? Read a book day. I'd read a book today, but I don't have the time. I got a football game to produce tonight. And that's your obscure holiday, 8 minutes after the hour, September 6th. Let's do Today in History. 497 years ago, so we don't have any film. I'm sorry about that. The Victoria, the only ship left of Ferdinand Magellan's expedition, finally returned to Spain. It was the first ship to sail all the way around the world, that circumnavigated the world. The expedition began on August 10th, 1519, so it took them a little over 3 years to do it. They had 5 ships. The Victoria was the only one that completed the voyage. Of course, Ferdinand Magellan, he didn't make it all the way. He was killed in the Philippines. The voyage started with 5 ships and 365 men. It ended with 1 ship and 18 men. That's it. Everybody else died, mostly of malnutrition, but still, it was a remarkable achievement. Turns out the Earth is round. September 6, 1901, 118 years ago today, Leon Chuck-Scholes, an unemployed anarchist. I don't know any anarchists who are employed. Anyway, Leon, he went a little nuts and he shot U.S. President William McKinley in Buffalo, New York. McKinley died 8 days later. It was a very painful 8 days for William McKinley, as you might imagine. Leon Chuck-Scholes was eventually convicted and executed. So William McKinley shot on this date. He died 8 days later, September 6, 1901. September 6, 1916, 103 years ago, that's the Piggly Wiggly in Memphis, Tennessee, the first self-serve grocery store, the first one ever. How did they do this before this happened? You would go to the grocery store, you would give the clerk your list of the groceries that you wanted, and then you'd wait at the counter, and the clerk would go get all your groceries and bring them back, which seemed sort of stupid. And so Piggly Wiggly thought, why don't we just put everything out on the shelves and give you a cart, and you just go up and down the aisles and grab what you need and put it in the cart, and then you go to the checkout register and you check out the deal. And The reason that it took off so much is that he was able to reduce costs. He didn't have to hire a bunch of clerks to go out and get the groceries. It was a good idea. The very first self-service grocery store, the Piggly Wiggly, opened on this date in Memphis, Tennessee, 103 years ago today, and it revolutionized the way we went shopping. And finally, September 6, 1995, 24 years ago today, Cal Ripken Jr. of the Baltimore Orioles played his 2,131st consecutive game, breaking Lou Gehrig's record that had stood for 56 years. I remember watching this on ESPN like it was yesterday. Here's a little moment for you. Being a hardcore Yankee fan, I felt really good that night because I figure if anybody is going to break Lou Gehrig's record, it should be Cal Ripken Jr., the personification of class in baseball. For the record, Cal Ripken Jr. would eventually play in 2,632 consecutive games, 502 more than Gehrig. He benched himself, took himself out of the lineup, and didn't play on September 20th, 1998, ironically enough, in a game against the Yankees. And finally, we got 3 birthdays. We have one historic birthday, Joseph P. Kennedy Sr., the American businessman, diplomat. He was the ambassador to the court of St. James during World War II before Franklin Roosevelt essentially fired him. Of course, his claim to fame is he was the father of President John F. Kennedy, Attorney General and Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and longtime Senator Edward Ted Kennedy. Joseph P. Kennedy was born in the state in 1888, died of a stroke in 1969 at the age of 81. Happy birthday to Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Roger Waters, the bassist of Pink Floyd. He co-founded Pink Floyd with Nick Mason and Rick Wright and Syd Barrett and Nick Gilmore. Eventually, Syd Barrett went nuts. Roger Waters kind of took over the leadership of the group as the lyricist, wrote most of the great songs, and was the conceptual leader of Pink Floyd. Roger Waters, a huge talent, is 76 years old today. And Jane Curtin from Saturday Night Live is 72 years old today. She readily admitted during the early years of Saturday Night Live she was the odd one out. The rest of the original not ready for primetime players liked to party. Some of them were married, but they weren't exactly faithful to their wives. Jane Curtin didn't do any of those things. She didn't party with the crew afterwards. She liked opera and ballet. She was married with kids, lived a very quiet and conservative lifestyle, unlike her castmates. But we love her. Jane Curtin is 72. Going to take a break. When we come back, everybody is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. Then my conversation with Maren May, one of the organizers of the Walk to End Alzheimer's. It's a conversation you don't want to miss. It's a Friday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
My name is Ralph Sorensen, and I own Homestead Vinyl Products. We make vinyl fencing. We manufacture the vinyl fencing here. We also sell and install vinyl fencing.
Along with that, Homestead Vinyl Products sells cedar, chain link, custom designed vinyl pergolas, arbors, gazebos, and ornamental fencing. To view complete projects, check their website, homesteadvinylpr.net, or stop by their showroom in Entiat on Highway 97A.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, I recently read a book, Psycho USA by Harold Schechter. Now, this book discusses real but little known American serial killers from the period of 1782 to to 1961. Now, although the term serial killer didn't come into vogue until the 1960s, Schechter presents case after case, which shows that serial killers have been a part of American society since the beginning of the society. Schechter suggests that also firearms have made murder of multiple individuals more efficient. Serial killers of our past have simply used the current technology of their time, such as hatchets, which seem to have been very popular, to commit their multiple murders. Schechter also argues convincingly that individuals committing these acts were what is responsible for the crimes they committed, that they were responsible for the crimes they committed, not the tools they use. And I have to say I agree as best as possible. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Looking for a hands-on, high-demand job? Now is the perfect time to get trained for a career in manufacturing. Washington currently has a shortage of skilled tradespeople, and retirements are making room for more. The machining program at Wenatchee Valley College is designed to give students the foundation to excel in this precision industry. Don't wait, there are only 15 spots left. A 2-year degree and a 1-year certificate are available. Learn more at wvc.edu/machining.
Come see how very different you will feel in your Bullfrog Spa.
Is search engine optimization right for my business? Maybe. Studies show the first and second search results get 50% of all the clicks. But you have to fight national chains to get there. If the user has to scroll down to find you, tough luck. You could hide a dead body on page 2 and the whole zombie apocalypse on page 3. Or you could spend less and get an ad in the Impact Big Print phone book, giving local businesses a chance to shine.
Impact Directories. Bigger print, better book.
And welcome back to Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. On Saturday, September 21st, it is the Walk to End Alzheimer's for everybody here in North Central Washington. It's going on all over the country, of course, but the local chapter is holding the event here. It starts at the Pybus Public Market, ends at the Pybus Public Market. It's all about raising awareness and hopefully finding a cure to Alzheimer's. And here to talk about it is Maren May from the local organization. In fact, you're chairing this year's Walk to End. Is that correct, Maren?
Yes. I've gotten involved with the committee and then stepped up to do chair and have been enjoying that role, trying to get it kicked off.
We're getting there, hopefully, and we'll let people know how you can register and volunteer and donate and all that stuff before we're done with this conversation. Obviously, there's a personal story, Maren, while you're involved. If you're comfortable to share that, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, several years ago, my dad ended up with dementia. It is something that runs in his family. He had an Alzheimer's specifically. My father passed away just last year, and so I decided that it was time for me to get involved. I have the risk of developing Alzheimer's, and I watched all of the care my mom had to put into it, and I look at my husband and my kids and hope they don't have to do that for me.
Yeah, it's very stressful for the caretaker, for the family members, to see mom and dad or grandma and grandpa slip away to the grasp of Alzheimer's. Where are we on a cure there? I mean, are we making progress? That's the first thing people want to know.
I'm excited that there are some items that through the research they've been able to identify two things really. One is they have these tangles, and then there's proteins that happen. It's kind of like a plaque. If you think about your teeth and why you go to the dentist and you have plaque scraped off your teeth, it's kind of like that for the brain. There's a plaque that builds up on it, it's toxic, it attacks neurons.
So they're getting there.
We hope so. No cure yet.
No cure yet, but...
No, that's why we want to do this walk. We need to have the research. And for people who have Alzheimer's and may want to get involved, there's trials available. They can look at the alzheimers.org site. And there's some trials to get involved to find out where we have more people who can, we can use their data and find out about lifestyles and things like that that might spur along more research.
What you mentioned your father passed away from dementia. At what point did you and other family members think, okay, this is more than just Dad forgot his keys or
ours?
Or
yeah, and ours was a
deal?
little bit more. It was more difficult to detect. My dad had a lot of hearing loss, and so in the beginning, you would just, my dad would forget something, and I'd be like, well, maybe he didn't hear. Maybe he didn't hear, and he doesn't remember it. And then over time, you start seeing the repetition of questions. He doesn't quite remember your every moment. He's not remembering where you are in the family, let's say. He knows they lived in Denver. I would come out from Seattle. And he knows I'm his daughter. He knows he's fond of me. But he'd start saying things like his go-to question was, where's your next trip? Where are you going next? And in the beginning, you'd think, okay, you tell him, oh, well, Dad, I'm going to go to San Diego. We're going to go to San Diego. Well, wouldn't you want to go someplace else? Where would that be? So he kept on asking and pursuing that line of questioning because you couldn't be wrong. Nobody could kind of get upset.
Right.
So they hide. They figure out how to do it. And there's certainly a stigma attached to the disease, and they really don't want to confront it, nor do caregivers. And that's one thing I hope we can change too.
Well, being at risk, as you mentioned at the beginning of this interview, Maren, is there ways that you can be proactive at this point in your life? Is there ways you can not necessarily head off what may become an Alzheimer's thing, but put it off or dietary? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Is it
there are certain research that talk about healthy lifestyle, and no different than many other cancers. Alzheimer's kills more people than breast cancer and prostate cancer combined. And there's one person every 67 seconds that is diagnosed. So postponing is a big deal about how could you not become one of those statistics. And so healthy eating, getting your regular exercise, they're finding that maybe high blood pressure is symptomatic to some of this. There's also early onset where they have identified a gene, and that is for people who happen to usually get it between 50 and 65, that early onset person. So there's some research that's helping, and then the dietary, exercise, high blood pressure. I mean, in those things with my dad, he was an avid walker, walked all the time, miles, and ate very well, was a healthy eater, but he did have high blood pressure. So maybe that was a contributing factor. We're not sure yet. And so, I try to eat regular, smaller meals and healthier and get out for exercise.
Is cases of Alzheimer's increasing, or are they just getting better at diagnosing it? Because Alzheimer's is one of those things, I don't remember even hearing about Alzheimer's when I was a kid.
A really good question, because as it turns out, my great aunt had Alzheimer's. And back then you were considered, you were just a little crazy, a little loopy, and things didn't go well. And the treatment has gotten better. Caregivers, we have memory care facilities now.
There are a lot of them in the Wenatchee Valley, a lot of them.
Yeah, there is. There's a large population here of Alzheimer's. We have a lot of people here with the disease, and why I hope we can do something about it. But yes, detection is increased. I think before the doctors were kind of like, well, when there's no cure, there's no name for it for a long time. What are you going to, what do you put down on your code for charging? Saw this person, I don't know what condition they're having. But it's a lot better than it used to, and I really would encourage people to go get evaluated with a provider. There's this thing called mild cognitive impairment.
Yes, talk about that.
And that's a little bit of a precursor to some of the dementia, but that can be very misleading. You may have an infection. You may be having memory issues because of an infection or a medication interaction. That is not a Alzheimer's specific stage or item. So I would encourage people, if you see that in your family member, the mild cognitive impairment may not be dementia. You may be worried about it.
And we say dementia and we say Alzheimer's. They're not necessarily interchangeable. you know, when people think Alzheimer's, it's just a big umbrella and all the different kinds of dimensions are shoved underneath that umbrella. That's not the case, really, is it?
Right. Dementia is the overall term.
Right.
And then you just find that there's Alzheimer's is the number one type of dementia, that most people have it, followed by the Lewy body type. And that's something within your own Northwest family here that you have seen with Eric. Grandstrom has been very vocal about trying to encourage people to look at the Alzheimer's, and that's the type his mother has been suffering from.
Yes.
So they're not the same, but they all fall within that dementia category.
And Eric is going to be a big supporter of the Walk to End Alzheimer's, which is why Maren is here. Obviously, you have a dog in the hunt. My guess is the vast majority of people on your board and on your committee have dealt with it in one way or the other. I don't know a single person who hasn't had either a family member or a close family friend or something have dementia come into their life one way or the other, either being diagnosed with it or knowing somebody who does. Is that the case with your committee and your people? They all there?
Everybody? Yes. I mean, there's so few people that you run into that don't know somebody who's had the disease or a caregiver. And I just really want people to get out and help us support getting a cure. I'd love the first person to find that cure. It's too many, the caregivers. I look at that statistic I mentioned earlier, the 1 in 67 seconds, there's somebody diagnosed with Alzheimer's or an other related dementia. And that's one person diagnosed in the United States, not the world, the United States. And when you talk about, I look at my dad, and my mom struggled for years. It takes out a partner. It takes out a caregiver oftentimes. They get fatigued. There's guilt. There's depression. Frustration. Yeah. We talk so much about the Alzheimer's patient, but there's more to it than just the loved one you have. It's that caregiver who just gives so much. And we need to offer support. And locally here, there's the Adult and Aging Care Center, and they have some dementia resources. They have support groups. There's an education component. We have a 24-hour helpline to get people calling in. But I would really love to see people get assistance for caregivers. And as family members, that's a role we need to take on. Try to look.
It's yeah. I don't. To be a caregiver of somebody who's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's must be just life-changing.
My mom.
It's all-encompassing, isn't it? It takes over your life.
It does. My mom, you know, I like I say, they lived in Denver. And one of the things that happened was I remember going out one time and, you know, my mom's house isn't as clean as it used to be. And I noticed the pants she was wearing were old and she really needed some replacements for some of that. And I'm like, Mom, you gotta go shopping. And she said, well, I know, but I really can't take your dad. And I can't leave him outside the dressing room because he'll wander off, and I'm not comfortable bringing him in the dressing room with me, so I just don't go shopping. And I mean, those are sad things like, oh, if somebody could just come over and watch Dad while Mom goes out. But the person with Alzheimer's rejects people coming in.
It's a catch-22.
And that's what happened on the last stage with my dad, was my mom's sister had passed away, and we were all going to a funeral in San Diego. My mom was going to go with my dad, and then a couple weeks ahead, she said, I can't travel with your dad again. He had gotten lost at an airport on a previous trip. And she said, I just don't think I can go with your dad. If we make the plane, it would be great, but I'm worried about how he'll behave at the service, which is certain behaviors become a little inappropriate at times.
I understand.
And it's embarrassing.
There isn't a filter, and they don't know that there isn't a filter.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of people start isolating. My mom was isolating, not taking part in groups.
The world got pretty small.
It does. It gets super small. But in our case, we went out and stayed with my dad. My husband and I stayed with my dad. And this was 7 months before he passed. And he had no idea who we were. All the visits before, I felt like he was thinking, oh, I'm fond of you. I can't think of who you are, but I know I like you. This time he didn't understand why we were in his home. Where was my mom? He didn't necessarily refer to her as his wife. And he wanted the car keys to leave. And I went give him the car keys, and we had to call 911 to get my dad back, because he thought we were up to no good. He thought we were just there to take away liberties from him and wanted us to go.
Sobering stuff. We've talked about the warnings. Well, let's real quickly, because I know we really want to talk about Saturday, September 21st. But while we're on the subject, what are the things that adult children of people who may have Alzheimer's or dementia or memory losses? What are the warning signs? What do you need to look for when you visit mom and dad or whoever it is?
Yeah, and
sibling.
I would really recommend anybody go online to the Alzheimers.org, and order this Washington State chapter for the Dementia Roadmap. And it has so much valuable information in it. And included in the book is the Dementia Quick Reference. And it's talking about how memory loss, problem solving, certain they can no longer do normal tasks they would. My dad, for instance, was mowing the lawn and had moved one of the wheels up, one of the wheels down. Couldn't figure out why the grass was in a wave pattern. So this book is super helpful, and it would go through the 10 warning signs. It also is great because it goes through the early stages, mid stages, and late stages of dementia, what you should be looking for. Estate planning, financial considerations are enormous. What you can do for, as you say, the adult children, what can you do for, in my situation was my mom, for caregiving. And a lot of it is just adapting their normal routine. They're not so good at, let's say they were golfers before. That may be too much, but maybe hitting balls on the driving range, and you're doing different things. You're adapting. It's not 18 holes of golf. It's, you're out at the driving range. Or, taking walks to familiar places, and they're just shorter. Make them shorter. Come in and out faster.
It's again, all you got to do is go to Alzheimer's. What's the website?
Well, for this book, you would go to Alzheimers.org and go to we want to have the Washington State.
Okay.
But talking about the walk on September 21st,
Please, let's do that.
That one you would want to go to act.alz.org/Wenatchee.
I have it right here. All I did was Google walking at Alzheimer's Wenatchee. I didn't even spell Alzheimer's correctly, and it found me right there. It is Saturday, September 21st. Your goal is 70 grand. You're up to nearly 29. We can get to 70, but we need help. Let's get people involved.
We do.
What do they do besides go to the website?
They're going to go to the website, sign up. Also, I would, a lot of local people and certain communities, certain companies, they've sat around and said, hey, we want to donate part of our proceeds this business year to some charity. We would love to see those charities come to Alzheimer's Association. 1 in every 5 Medicare dollars is spent on Alzheimer's currently, and it's projected to go higher. And so as soon as we can get this solved, we're saving money in Medicare, caregivers, unpaid caregivers, just the financial constraints that we have for our parents having to go to memory care.
And it's terribly expensive.
Very expensive.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very expensive.
The trade-off is that the caretaker gets finally to take a breather because you have to worry about the day-to-day activities, but on the other hand, your loved one is not with you anymore in a different location. And for the loved one, they have a hard time adjusting as well.
It was the hardest thing our family did, putting my dad into memory care.
Yeah.
But you get driven to a choice, and we waited as long as we could. That's the thing we did. But we'd love to see people come out, sign up for your teams, maybe have challenges at work, or maybe you have a community, like some places they do their street, and they do for restaurants might do like $1 proceeds will go to Alzheimer's for this weekend or this night. They can, thinking of next year, there was a farmer in Yakima that was growing purple asparagus, and he did a purple asparagus promotion, and they made money, $5,000 toward Alzheimer's research. So if you have something purple, we have our purple, that's the color for the Alzheimer's Association.
It starts and ends at Pipus, I'm assuming, and you just do the riverfront.
2 miles, you can bag out at any point.
Sure.
You don't have to do the whole thing. For people, your dogs are welcome, your kids are welcome. We want to see everybody support Because that's why we do the walk, to raise funds and to promote awareness of the disease.
Is there a deadline for teams or individuals, or can you show up and say, here's my check, and I'll take a shirt and take a hike?
Yeah.
You can do that too.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is get together with teams. Get
It
together with
is.
coworkers or family members and that kind of
And
stuff.
there's a great opening ceremony, and people here are going to be helping us MC some of the opening ceremonies, but it's kind of powerful because everybody receives a flower. If you've seen anything on the Alzheimer's, they'll do the purple, yellow, orange, blue, and white flowers. And it's really powerful to see those people show up with the blue flowers that have Alzheimer's and are walking so we can support them. And then there's one white flower that is presented at every event, and that's for the hope for the first person that has the cure.
Hopefully, we're getting there.
Hopefully so.
By the way, the Walk to End Alzheimer's is a nationwide event. This is the North Central Washington chapter. And again, all I had to do was Google was Walk to End Alzheimer's Wenatchee, and everything you needed, it popped right up. Their website was right there. Everything you need to do from filling out the forms to register now to building your teams, every question you could possibly have about it is right there. Again, it is on Saturday, September 21st. Starts and ends at the Pybus Market. And you're going to have, I go to the Pybus all the time, and you're going to have people who are going to go at the Pybus who don't know what's going on. They say, what's going on? He says, it's the walk-in. And they're going to give you money.
I can't wait.
I can guarantee
I
you
would
that.
love to have
I
the cure.
guarantee you that. It's good to see you, Maren. It
Thank
really
you
is.
very much,
I appreciate
Dan.
you. Can we have you on one more time before the event?
That'd be
I'd like to have
awesome.
that happen. Maybe the week of, okay?
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
considering yourself booked.
Okay,
All right?
that's
All right.
awesome.
You watch you wake up in Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Let Fitterers Furniture help you turn your dreams into reality with their exciting selection of quality furnishing and accessories. Whatever style you are looking for, you will find beautifully crafted furniture of exceptional value and the unmatched Fitterers customer service to make this shopping experience one you will keep coming back to. Make a point of visiting Fitterers Furniture in downtown Ellensburg.
Quality selection and service since 1896.
The Cottage Inn has been a Wenatchee Valley landmark since 1940, making it one of the longest-running locally owned restaurants around. And it's better than ever. Steak, seafood, and their famous homemade desserts for dinner, wonderful lunch items, and breakfast on Sundays, all made from scratch and at an affordable price. It's no wonder the Cottage Inn has been so popular for over 75 years. Enjoy a fabulous meal today at the Cottage Inn on Easy Street in Old Station.
Transform your windows with a variety of colors and styles like the Allure Transitional Window Covering by Lafayette Interior Fashions. Hi, this is Darren with Mini Blinds and More. We can install the latest and greatest in technology to open and close your blinds with only a touch of a button. From the largest windows in your home to room darkening shades for the bedroom. From stylish shades for your entertainment room to custom blinds for those hard-to-fit places. We have a solution for all of your window covering needs. We offer a variety of window coverings from Lafayette Interior Fashions. Call us today. We are Mini Blinds and More, your local blind store.
Succession is leading the way for a new generation of Chelan wineries. Named Platinum Winemaker of the Year in 2017 and the one to watch in 2018 by Wine Press, Succession is setting the pace. Award-winning wines are just a part of the overall experience. Add live music on Sundays and fantastic views, and you have it all. Succession Wines, located on the north shore of Lake Chelan between Chelan and Manson.
Got about a minute left before we bid you adieu and get ready to start our weekend. But before we do that, what's Mother Nature have in store for us? Well, that system that came through and brought us the clouds yesterday, it's already starting to leave the area. So this morning we'll have clouds, but this afternoon the sun will come out. We'll have mostly sunny skies. By the time we get to the afternoon hours, we'll top off at about 86 degrees. Clear skies tonight, 63 for the overnight low. Now we do the inverse on Saturday. You'll wake up tomorrow morning with lots of sunshine, but as Saturday goes down the road, the clouds will be thickening up, and by the time the sunset on Saturday, we'll have lots of clouds and a high of 84 degrees. Then we talk a little bit of rain, about a 50% chance of showers possible Saturday night, and we're not talking any kind of gully washers, just some light rain possible Saturday night into early Sunday morning. We'll dip down to about 64 Sunday, partly sunny and considerably cooler as the cold front begins to make its presence felt. As you see, we're only going to get to 75 on Sunday, so an 11-degree difference between the afternoon high on on Saturday to Sunday to Monday. It's going to cool down quite a bit. And then a kind of unsettled weather, really starting, I guess you would say, on Saturday, and really running through the early part of next week. It's going to be kind of a give and take and a push and shove. So there you go. Everybody have a fantabulous weekend, provided this show isn't canceled. We'll see you Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.